Okay, what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to try to give you an idea of how to start out with this topic. How do you start searching things? And so what I've done is I use Google Docs a lot, but you can use this as a Word document. You have free access to Microsoft Word. You can get a free copy. You'll have to check online with SNHU, but use this online. Start the search. How are we going to do this? Now, there are three topics that are pre-assigned, but you don't have to accept those. You can choose something else. Now, I'm going to with the pre-approved version here, so I'm kind of going to go start out this way to kind of give you an idea. I'm going kind of fast here because I don't have a lot of time to record, and I don't want to give you a real long video. Okay, so first, starting with with research. How do you do this? So you're going to begin, I would say, for this class, begin with the library guide. So where's the library guide? So the library guide is, of course, found, and I should have been set, at the bottom of your module. So when you log into your computer, I want to show you, let me go back one more. I want to show you where you can find it. It's there. It's at the bottom of every module. So if you were to assign it, so here's module 2, you can start with module 2. But this week we're starting with module 3. So if you were to go to module 3, you can go all the way down, scroll down, and there it is, the library guide. You cannot miss this. This is very important. This was a guide that's specially put together for this course. So this guide is very important because it'll help you start your research. It also gives you other ways for citing. It gives you ways for choosing your own topic and the resources to look at. We're going to look at Mao Zedong. So let's look at Mao Zedong. Now, I pronounce it differently sometimes because I was taught a different way, but we mean the same way. And sometimes you'll find his name spelled different ways, and even Zedong is not necessarily considered correct. Now, this is a broad topic. The man lived for over 80 years. You are not going to write a biography about Mao Zedong. What we're going to do is we're starting with a broad topic, and we're going to get smaller. We're going to look at, because remember, your goal here would be a 6-page paper versus a 60-page paper. You don't want to write a large paper or even a 600-page paper. We're going to kind of narrow it to 6 ideas, six pages. Okay. So how do we do this? So first thing would be to go to start research. And the first thing to start your research is click this research starter. And you have to start somewhere. So you have to say, well, if you don't know anything, I'm assuming you don't know anything, we're going to start with who is Mao. So we're going to look at Mao Zedong. This is a general description of what he's like, what he did. This is something that's found in the library guide. Do not ever use encyclopedic sources for your sources. So we're starting broad. So what do we find? So you're going to do some reading. You're going to find, oh, he's kind of interesting. He had 4 wives. This is important mainly because of his children, but it becomes important in other things as well. But then you could look at the beginning of his political career. The man was practically 40 before he really had a political career. There's something for a late starter for you. You can talk about, you can see a lot of information. You can read a lot about him in particular. There are a lot of particular areas in his life that you may want to narrow down to. For example, you could look at the great, what would be part of the Great Cultural Revolution, which occurred in the 60s. If you wanted to look at the Great Leap Forward, what was the idea behind a Great Leap Forward? Why did Mao want to do this? You can find out what that is. Find out what the information is here. Get a small idea. Start in this area, and we're going to, like the World Wide Web, we're going to start here, and we're going to branch off into other areas. And then, of course, there are a lot of things you don't want to. Again, you want to do. You could start from the point and say, okay, I want to know more about Mao Zedong. Well, that's wonderful, but what do you want to know? And then, now you've got to get And the problem with the courses being only 8 weeks, you've got a short period of time and you've got to get narrow fairly quickly. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, so say you found an interest in something called the Long March. Wow. So open up a document and then start with, okay, what are we going to do to start with? The first thing is we're going to start, how do you start the research? 1, begin with the library guide. 2, start to read considerably. I'm saying considerably. I don't have a set number of pages. Sometimes, you've got to read quite a bit before you can really understand where you want to go. And it takes time. You can't necessarily start doing a research in the search engines until you really know where you're going. So, or what you want to do. Okay, so stop there. Now, we decided that, okay, we want to look for the Long March. So what I'm going to do is I said, okay, for project 2, we'll say, what was Mao's role? What was Mao's role? So let's say this is the question, okay? We're going to start short, but oh, okay. W. What was Mao's role as the leader of the Long March? Or you could say, what was Mao's role in the Long March? I mean, I understand. You're narrowing down to a very focused point. Then you're going to want to list 3 factors that make this event important. Why is this event important? That's your question. What 3 things make this event important? I say 3. 3 is a nice number. It's an uneven number, but it's more than 2. So we're going to do that. So what do we do? Now, you've already written this down. Let's go back to Mao Zedong. We decided that, okay, we want to look at the Long March. Okay, so we're going to click the tab, and it's going to tell us what the Long March is. So you're going to then go back. Now, again, it's an encyclopedia. Can't use this source. No. But you can read it from the very beginning to start to get an idea of what you're supposed to do. It talks a little bit about what happened. It talks about what the Long March was. Okay, so, and here it tells you when it started and how long it lasted. It lasted almost over a year. Can you imagine this? Okay, who were the people involved? There were 2 people. There's the nationalist forces versus the communist forces in China. Where you'll learn more about that as you do your reading. So you can read what it means, what battles there were, what's important about it, and then here are some sources that are possibilities for you to use. These are secondary sources. These are the sources that the encyclopedia used. These are the sources that you can use. But at the same time, you have to understand, you're going to actually go look at these sources, okay? Now, if you decide you don't want to use these sources, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so we've decided that's what we're going to do. All right. Now, we're already in the Shapiro Library. So we've decided we're going to look at the Long March. What we could do is a bunch of things from here. What we should do is go up here and start a new search. Okay, new search. And so what were we interested in? So we can do Mao and the Long March. Why not start with something like this? Now, we'll get more specific later, but let's just start with something simple. Click the search button, and let's see what we get with here. Sometimes you might get lucky, you never know. You don't know. So here we go. You'll want to limit this to a couple of things. First, electronic articles. Yes, you'll probably want that. Click peer reviewed. This is something you'll want because this will eliminate a lot of things you don't want to look at. And as you go through this doesn't look too great. Some of this looks like now when they have the full text, that's important. So that'll help you as far as looking on this. And this is looking at some town. You'll have to read these and see if these are anything that you want. On the path, the start of the long march. Ah, this might look interesting. Let's take a look at that. The start of the long march. Okay, we'll look that up. Now it talks about you got a link here that you can access to. You will want to, let's go to the full text. There you go. And what this will do, as we hope you will if you are signed in, you'll be able to look at this and say, okay, let's take a look at it. You will have to do some reading on this. And once you read this, it'll help you describe what the Long March was, why it was important, and at the same time, it will give you some of the factors that are important in, especially in what you might, we're looking for. Remember, 3 factors. So here is, what do we got? It's taking a minute here, because it's something they haven't had to look up in a while. But okay, this looks like, ooh, what is this? Oh, this is probably where he stayed or something. Anyway, so it tells you the subject, tells you where the photo. It's a photo collection. Well, that's not going to help you. Please know this is under copyright. We know that. We were more interested in. We were trying to find the text. So this may not be anything you want. You're going to find a lot of this, guys. The start of the Long March, tomorrow's headquarters. Well, that's nice. We are, let's go back to where we were. Okay, we go back to that window. So, this is going to take some time. This is not easy. I spent 3 minutes here, and you can tell that this is not even something you're going to want to look at. You might want a picture. That might be something you might want to use for that, but no. You may want to look at other things. This is the town where Mao took power. Okay, this might be something. So look through these, and then use those for your project 1. And if you have any questions, of course, please give